One could assume because you've lived through it, this was a quick write for you. But how long did it actually take you to write The Fourth Wife?
Wow, a long time. So I think I wrote the first draft in 2021. Um, and then started like sending it to agents in like 2022-ish. 2022, 2023. It's a long process. It's kind of blurred at this point. I wrote a lot of versions. I wrote a lot of versions. And I will say for anyone else out there who might be an aspiring author, don't give up because, this was the third book I queried. The other two books didn't get picked up. Hundreds of agents. I'm pretty sure when I got my agent, she was one of my very last people I queried. Like we're talking over 100 queries on the fourth wife before someone said yes. So and also keep tweaking it and working on it as you're querying because that was one of the big things. Like the first when I first sent out the fourth wife, it did have some initial buzz and interest from agents, but it wasn't a very well written book. Like I'm just gonna be honest, it wasn't well written. And so no one wanted to take it. And so thankfully I had at least a couple agents be like, hey, if you make some changes here, we could reconsider it. And so that really helped a lot, was being able to be like, okay, I need to work on it. And so then I worked on it with my agent for like another year and it sold in 2025 and then published in 2026. So it's a long process. It was a long process. I know for other authors it may not be so long, but for me it was really long. And I think it was good for me that no one picked up the first version of The Fourth Wife or that no one picked up my first two books because I think that the book that I put out was so much better than what it was at the beginning. Does that make sense?
It does, but now that you mentioned you had different versions, it's like, was the ending always the same or did you change
So
it? Ooh.
that's one of the biggest things that changed in the book. It initially was a very sad book. It had a very sad ending. And my initial beta readers were like, we can't have like this is very sad. Like they didn't like it. And so I was like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it's really sad. And I think it's because also like at that point I was sad, right? Like I had just finished writing this book and learned so many horrible things about my ancestors. Like I had just come face to face with so many things that were like just completely, you realize like like I can see in color now, like right, and so I was in a sad place, I think, too, with my relationship to polygamy and everything, and I just felt like this is gonna have a sad ending because it's sad. And so that changed. If you read it now, don't worry, friends, it has a happy ending with lots of vengeance. Yeah, we had vengeance added in was another thing, and yeah, the ending was very interesting, even up until the very, very end, right before we sent it to editors for submission. That was the very last thing we changed. Like my agent and I working together, because she was like, there's just something not working about the ending. And I was like, I agree, there is something not working about the ending. And so she gave me this idea, which is another tip for writers out there, and because I had never thought of this before, and so I thought it was brilliant. She had me read the book only from the perspective of each wife. So instead of reading the whole thing, I just read all of like Abigail's chapters. So I was basically reading her story. And it was really helpful for one to make sure that everything's consistent because sometimes, when you're writing a big long book, you kind of forget what you put at the beginning or whatever. But it was also really helpful for making me like make sure that everybody's arc made sense. Everybody's arc completed. And so that was kind of one of the big things was I realized that someone's arc wasn't completing right. And so when I changed that and then I sent it back to my agent, she's like, that was it. We figured it out. So that's another tip. Maybe if you feel like something's not working in your book, try reading it from only from one character and see if that makes sense.